Hey everybody, welcome to the video where I share my thoughts on the E3 trailer of Battlefront 3 this year. Might be a very short video, might be a very long video, I don't know. The trailer, what we saw was very short indeed, and even, like, man, it was disappointing overall. But let me start by the beginning. Battlefront 3 was the game that everybody wanted to know my opinion about. People have been asking me for a long time what I wanted, or what I want in Battlefront 3, what I think they would show at E3 this year, what my expectations were. And so, we had the EA press conference. Now, overall, that was the most disappointing conference of all. You can check a video about that on my channel as well. But, they began, I thought, pretty big. It began, the Star Wars music was playing, I was like, fuck yeah! We're immediately starting with the game that I want to see. I mean, it is literally the most important game for my channel, so I thought, okay, they're beginning well. And you know, in the beginning, they still had my focus, and they began with, you know, the creators at DICE in Denmark, and, you know, a voiceover was saying, well, you know, it's a fan's dream to work on this game, and we went to the museum of LucasArts and to the film sets to create that vibe, and it took way too long. They even showed, you know, also a lot of footage from the offices themselves. And I thought, when are we going to see footage? What is this? And I've seen the trailer back a couple of times on the Polaris channel. And I've seen the comments as well from people. And there are some people who say, oh no, this is great. I love that they show this, because now we know at least that they're not rushing it. And they're spending a lot of love and time to getting the feeling right. And I thought, well, yeah, that's true and all, but you can just write a blog post on that or something, or make a 10-second video about it, or whatever, or a separate video about it, you know, like a developer's diary or whatever. Like, today we went to the museum and we went to the film locations, blah blah blah. You know, you don't wait a whole year after the last E3 trailer and then show this with nothing. I mean, you could just say, yeah, we went to the museum and we went to the film locations to get that vibe. I don't know how many seconds that was, but it was a lot less than they spent doing that. And then they said, or they showed, and it's not in-game, it is early engine footage, I think they called it. You know, it looked nice, but in my opinion, it doesn't mean shit. It absolutely doesn't mean shit. So we saw three things. We saw the Stormtrooper's head, which I think was the most significant thing. We saw the snow speeder flying around. We saw an AT-ST very early model. You can't really say anything about that. And we saw the snow speeder part at the end. Like I said, the helmet part is, I think, the most significant thing. If you look at it, you can see edges. It kind of looks like a Frostbite 3 footage. And I have no doubt that what we saw from the snow speeders could also be in-game. But there is one thing that I realize, and I realized this with a lot of E3s last year, that the stuff that they show you, though a lot of parties do show reality, especially early in-game footage, is usually a lot prettier than it turns out to be. And a reason why, for example, that head of the Stormtrooper, right? I have no doubt that that was made, and that the head of the Stormtrooper was the only thing in the world, and in the game world there. It's a little bit difficult to explain, but where you have in Star Wars Battlefront, you have 64 units all working, or all, you know, moving at once, that kinda drains some of the graphical capacity that an engine can take. Whereas if you focus completely on one head, this has been done before during the PlayStation 3 demo, where they showed the guy from Spider-Man 2, and they showed his face, and it had also been done by last year's E3 by the guy who made Heavy Rain, where they showed a face. You know, they all show, yeah, we can do this with the engine, we can do this, and it's great, but what they show you is not going to be the end product, and it's not significant or not a realistic image of what it's going to be. I think the most realistic things that we saw were indeed the Stormtrooper's head, though, like I said, graphically it might probably be less. I love the details on it, like the dirt on the helmet and everything. That was great. But the snow speeder sequence was probably a little bit more realistic. The AT-ST really didn't show a whole lot. I mean, you know, movement-wise, it looked, you know, okay, just like the other ones. I had no doubt about that. And then, of course, the last part, where everybody was like, oh! And to be honest, I don't think that's in-game at all. You can see that in the movement of the Rebel, who moves really unnatural. And I say that by, when for a video game, so he actually moves very natural, but to the point where, like, no one's controlling the character. No one is. This is pre-rendered as fuck. And one might say, well, it is an idea of what the engine can do. And I'm like, well, I waited a full year for this. There's a reason why I chose this map to talk about. Tantive 4, right? Do you see how undetailed this ship is? And it's not because of this game, but it's just because there are white walls, very clinically, you know, not a whole lot of details in there. Shining floor. This will be perfect for a demo. A demo for an E3 doesn't have to be very long. It can be a minute, but show some gameplay. You can do it first person if you're afraid that the movement of the units are still a little janky and unnatural. Because it's such a corridor shooter, you don't need a whole lot of units to showcase. Like, you know, the walls are white anyway, so even with next-gen textures, they will still look white and all this shit like you're in an Apple store. I cannot believe they didn't do something like that. Just show a minute, you know, of next-gen battling in here. Show some of the explosions, some of the reflections and everything, the units, the movement, whatever. Just a minute, and we would have been happy. And instead we got that speeder bike sequence, which I don't think is in-game at all. It is the Frostbite 3 engine. Lay it next to things like Dragon Age, which looks pretty. It doesn't look anywhere near as good as that. It is. I mean, look at the smoke that comes up from the blaster impacts. Doesn't look anywhere near that with all the other games. And though this is indeed a Frostbite 3 engine that will come out later, it is early footage, which means that it should, you know, there's still, you know, work going to happen. Unless it is indeed pre-rendered, where they're actually able to let it look prettier. But, oh my god, it was such a disappointment. In the end, you know, we didn't really see a whole lot different. You know, we waited a whole year, and I have the feeling that we are, you know, we're not a step further than last year. I mean, last year, it was okay for them to show a CG trailer, because we were like, yes! Battlefront 3 is announced! Yes! Or the new Battlefront, you know, yes! Yes! And then speculations were going on. Oh my god, what's going to happen? This was their time to fucking shine. What did they do during that whole year? I realized that, you know, you have a new engine to work with, but the engine was already worked up from the ground up. It is an engine that you got by EA. It's not like fucking GTA, where you have to build a new engine every time a new console comes. And, yeah, no, it was not impressive. After that ended, I watched this together with Spartacus. Spartacus didn't even understand. He thought that more footage would come, the actual game footage would come. The EA press conference was over, and he was like, wait, no Battlefront? I'm like, no, dude, that trailer was it. I mean, it is kind of shameful if you look up now, Battlefront E3 trailer, and you get this. And I guess for the people who are actually not that much into Battlefront, god damn it, someone's at the door. It is pretty okay, but for the fans, I think this is kind of insulting because they have been waiting for so long, and we're not, you know, one step further. So it kind of sucks. I have to get the door, guys. I'll be right back. Alright, guys, I'm back. After the whole door escapade. You know, I was somebody wanted to sell some stuff. So, I was pretty much at the end of my sequence, though. So, all in all, very disappointing. I mean, you know, great and all that they're putting the time and effort that we want, but like I said, they didn't need to have us to wait a year to show us that. You don't do that on an E3 trailer. You know,
the enemy has captured a command post.
It's the same thing where during the Sony press conference that they were talking about powers and about the whole, like, comic book thing. You can do that at a Comic-Con. Don't do that at E3. E3, we want to see gameplay footage. The only reason when, you know, a CG trailer is okay is when it's sort of an announcement trailer. Or, and I guess I would make an exception when it was that awesome CG trailer for the Old Republic. But, all in all, man oh man. Man oh man. And I really wonder what other people's reactions were. Like I said, I'm afraid there are some fanboys who are like, oh no, it was so awesome and blah blah blah, awesome. But really, we didn't see shit. We didn't see shit, okay? And I'm really wondering what you guys thought, though. Like I said, the comments that I saw from the Polaris weren't basically people who were in like the Star Wars Battlefront community. I think mostly Battlefront fans are the ones that should be disappointed because they waited for so long, whereas people who like Battlefront regularly, they would have kind of been surprised because they were like, oh yeah, cool, okay, oh my god, it's going to be like this, or whatever, you know, concepts. But we wanted gameplay, and we didn't get it. We didn't get it. And so, it's going to be spring 2015, I think. You know, whatever. If there's another trailer going to be released with actual gameplay, I will make another video about my opinion on it. I mean, listen, I have no doubt it's going to be awesome, okay? I mean, it's the Frostbite engine, it's DICE, I like Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3, blah blah blah, multiplayer is awesome, sound-wise it's awesome, so I have no doubt that it's going to be awesome as well. But, this was just a very disappointing trailer. You know. So, that was my opinion. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.